Cops are faced with many strange and dangerous criminals every day. But what happens when they have to arrest their own neighbors?
You used to see me in the county all the time. What's up, Doc?
Let's take a look at 4 of the craziest examples of this, starting with the case of Andrew and Geraldine. On August 28, 2022, officers responded to an off-duty officer's request involving his neighbors. As soon as they got into the scene, they heard a big argument, and they knew something was wrong.
He's not gonna take care of her.
Well, then you should have thought about that before you kicked her.
Are you kidding me? Have you seen him? Have you seen him?
Just go now. Come on.
The suspects were Deputy Raffield's neighbors, Andrew and Geraldine. Andrew ended up with scratches on his body, and the police saw Geraldine kick him, but she didn't stop there. Take a look at what she did next.
I'm gonna kill you. I am gonna fucking kill you. Fuck you, you little bitch.
Hey, don't fight me. I got her dead.
I'm suing the fuck.
Alright, so look, go ahead. You smacked me in the face, so we're cool with that. Now you got a felony.
Hitting a cop is never a good idea, and that's how Geraldine ended up in cuffs in the backseat of the patrol car. She believed there was no evidence of her actions, but the body cam footage tells a different story.
Please just let my mom come pick her up. Please, please. She won't listen to anybody. Can you please call my mom?
That's gonna be up to him whether he calls, but I'll give him.
No, you don't. Wait, are you giving it to the guy that lives there?
No, I'm gonna give it to that deputy that you hit, or that officer that you hit.
He's the one that fucking shoved me.
That's because you hit him. It's all right here. Look, see this?
Yeah, go ahead and watch it.
Oh, I've
Go
already
ahead
seen
and
it.
watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it on? Yeah. All right. Yeah, you're recording.
The cops tried talking to Andrew again, but he refused to give them any information or press charges.
Do you want to be a victim?
All I can do is give information.
Do you want to be a victim or no? Do you want to press charges yourself?
Yeah, I'll be a victim.
It's gonna be. You don't have to be, dude. I don't want you to feel like you need to be a victim. If you don't want to, bro, you don't want to. She's gonna go to jail for felony for battery on Leah.
Per se.
Huh?
Per se.
She's gonna go to jail for battery on Leah for smacking me in the face.
Without victim.
No, he's the victim. The state of Florida is the victim. I went to go detain her because she kicked you in our presence. So we don't need you to be a victim.
Then take that.
This is when Geraldine decided to make things worse for herself.
You fucking pieces of shit! Go ask him! Go ask him! Oh, wow, wow. You guys are great officers. I'm so sorry. You guys are pieces of shit.
Sounds good. Thank you. You don't need to be a victim, bro. If you don't want to press charges on her, that's
Do you
fine.
need a statement?
Nope. I have him. He saw everything. It happened in our presence.
Okay.
It's on camera.
Then I don't want to.
That's fine.
I don't want to put my name on anything.
That's fine, man. You're good.
In the end, Geraldine was charged with felony battery on a law enforcement officer and given a $1,000 bond. 1 month after she was bonded out of jail, both the guy she was with and the officers dropped the charges. But what happens when the cop who stops you is not just a neighbor, but also an enemy?
He used to fuck my lady until we have an altercation.
On December 27th, 2020, an officer pulled over a truck because his trailer had broken brake lights.
How you doing, bud? Good. Deputy De La Cruz, Otero County Sheriff's Office. The reason I pulled you over is that your trailer doesn't have any lamps on it.
It doesn't? Are the lights on?
Have a seat.
Are the lights on?
Yeah, the lights aren't working.
The brake lights?
Yeah, the brake lamps are not working on the trailer.
You sure?
I'm 100% positive, yes, sir. You got a driver license on you? Insurance registration?
The officer followed the usual procedure, requesting the driver's license and registration. However, even after this, he couldn't determine whether the driver had been drinking or not.
I can't tell if he's been drinking or not, dude.
Everything appeared routine until the officer recognized the driver.
Why does this guy look familiar?
That's when everything changed. The cop decided to switch things up and conduct a field sobriety test.
We're about to conduct some field sobriety tests, Mr. Bass. The reason I am is because you swerved on the middle of the highway near mile marker 73. Then you slammed on your brakes, then you turned on Dog Ranch. Does that make sense?
So the reason why you pulled me over?
And I also pulled you over because your tail lamps. Yes, sir. How much did you have to drink tonight?
I've been none.
You haven't what?
None.
Okay, Mr. Bass.
Right when the test started, Bass said that he knew the deputy. Wait till you hear how they're connected.
Do you want your other officer over here? Obviously, because we have a...
Mr. Bass.
So real quick, he used to fuck my lady until we have an altercation, so I would appreciate it if you would agree.
You need to listen to
Mr. Bass.
I understand that. I'm here right now, but I'm
watch my eyes and everything. Wash my eyes and everything.
I'm watching you.
Please, sir.
I'm watching
wash
you.
my eyes and
listen, but listen to him, okay?
Mr. Best,
wash my eyes and everything. Wash my eyes.
I understand that, but listen to him.
I'm trying to help you out, sir.
Oh, you're trying to help me out?
Yes, sir.
You're trying to help me out?
Yes, sir. Are you refusing to do the test?
No, I'm not refusing to do the test. I'm asking another officer to observe the test.
It's not his stop. It is my stop, Mr. Best. I'm gonna give you one more. I'm gonna give you one more opportunity to stop talking and do the test. If not,
is your field cam running with you?
Yes, sir. It's right here.
I ask that he please observe the test that he's giving.
I'm here, but listen to him.
Okay.
Bass asked the other deputy to observe the field sobriety test due to a conflict of interest. Frustration grew on both sides, with Bass complaining about the chilly weather and the prolonged test. This is when the situation escalated even more.
You're gonna take a series of 9 steps, heel to toe.
1.
Not yet. I didn't tell you to start, Mr. Best. Now, Mr. Best.
This is bullshit. Can you give
Mr. Best.
It is.
Mr. Best. Pay attention. Turn this way. Face the line. I'm trying to help you out, Mr. Best. Okay. Now.
Wipe your tears because it's cold.
Mr. Best.
Realize that I'm fucking shivering too.
Mr. Best.
I'm shivering too. I don't got the fucking gear you on, you do.
I'm gonna give you one more opportunity.
One more opportunity?
Yes, sir.
It's cold as fuck, you know that shit.
Okay, I'm going ahead to demonstrate to you, okay?
Okay, demonstrate for me.
Don't move out of that position until I tell you to do so.
Demonstrate on this line for me, because I'm shivering too.
Go and turn around for me. Turn around.
Can I put a sweater on mine?
Turn around, Mr. Best. No, you're under arrest, Mr. Best, for DWI. Turn around.
Under arrest?
Turn around. Turn around.
You give me the test.
You're not complying.
At that point, the officer placed Bass under arrest for DWI before they even finished the test. He hopped into the car before the police questioned his passenger, who immediately snitched on Bass. Luck was not on his side that night.
He's drunk. Why are you letting him drive?
Well, you know he's young, 26, you know how younger kids are. I'm 69. I know better.
Yeah, but you let him drive while he's drunk. He reeks of alcohol.
He's a little wild side. You know how kids are.
I do. I do, yeah. Did he have a lot tonight, do you know?
I know he had one for sure.
Bass was offered another breathalyzer, but he refused. So he was sent straight to a holding cell where he really lost his temper and accused the officer of arresting him because of their jaded past.
What's up? Nigga, I did this shit, bro! Take me back a couple years. Shit, you used to see me in the county all the time. Be like, yeah, this bitch said what's up, this bitch said yeah. We'll go back. Mr. fucking proposed to her and she say no. Shit, what's up, nigga? What's up, doc? Shit. How your repel cam rolling? Ain't even worried, bro. Ain't even worried about this shit. Fuck you, dog. No, bitch. Yeah, she walks by. She didn't even know the story, bro. Fuck my ex and fucking proposed to her. She say no, now she dating me. Yeah, now you arrest me. Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you. You proposed, fucking dated for a long time, and then you send Snapchat pictures to her. Fucking, oh, you're messing with this little boy. You can have this. Fucking him in a jockstrap, fucking all swole. Yeah, whatever, dog. Whatever, bro. I got that on Snapchat. You got my phone. You got my phone. I'll give you the password. You can fucking look through it. You can look through it.
That's something awesome.
I'll give you the password and you can throw through my pictures. Keep laughing. Keep laughing, bro.
As curious as I am about that, I'm good.
Pretty curious, too.
Bass's case was dismissed due to a lack of evidence, and he is now even threatening to sue the police department over the arrest. However, having to arrest a colleague is undoubtedly more challenging.
You, sir, are a disrespect to our profession.
On November 14th, 2020, cops were made aware that their fellow officer, Drew Romo, was being disruptive outside a bar in Arizona. When they arrived, things were much worse than they could have ever imagined.
You need to go. They don't want you here, so you have to go. It's simple. If you don't want to be in trouble with us, just go. That's it.
Dude, I'm fucking on your side.
They don't want you at the business, so you need to go.
I'm on your fucking side.
I get that. They don't want you here today, man.
You guys are fucking brutal.
Hey. I'm on your side, bro. We understand what you do, but you need to, I'm a law enforcement. Hey, you need to understand, hey, you want to have a good conversation? Come here.
It seems like Romo was removed from Whiskey Row for being too drunk, so he decided to cross the street and try to enter El Jefe. But when the security didn't let him in again, Officer Romo became aggressive and confrontational with security and was screaming at them before officers arrived.
I'm trying to understand, what are they taking me out for?
You're too intoxicated. Instead of it, listen to me for 1 second. Get it through your head right here. Okay? You had too much to drink and you're not processing anything anymore. Arizona law requires that if the bar realizes you're too intoxicated, they must remove you within 15 minutes. You've been removed. I told you I said earlier, if you got assault, multiple witnesses watched about 15 times him swatting the hand of the security guards away.
Luckily, they had witnesses who could tell them exactly what happened.
We was just standing here waiting for our table, and he was just like just looking at me, and I was like, "Is there like a problem?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "What is that?" I was like, and then that's when he turned around and started talking to him and pushing him.
Romo should have listened to the officers and stayed quiet, but predictably, he didn't. So his colleagues had no choice but to arrest him.
I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go home. Oh, now you're gonna go home? You just said you didn't want to go home. Now you want to go home? Are you serious? Now you want to go home. Let's sit him down. Dude, I have a fucking law enforcement ID. You, sir, are a disrespect to our profession this evening. If you say it one more time, I'm gonna hold you in custody and make you tell the judge in the morning that you have a law enforcement ID. You're a disgrace right now. So you need to shut your damn mouth before I call your supervisor, and we go from there, and you don't lose your job in California while you're visiting Arizona. So you close your mouth and let us do our job now, because you can't make a dog decision.
Romo argued that he was a cop himself and didn't understand why he was being arrested. Turns out, this wasn't the first time these cops had to deal with Romo that night.
Do you know that you already talked to us tonight? Do you know that?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I understand.
How long ago was that? Minutes ago we talked to you.
Yeah.
How about a couple hours ago when you refused service into another bar and we told you to go home? Just go home. It's time to go home. You can't get into any more bars. Your buddies asked you to leave, and you would not leave, and you walked off on your own, and they left you.
But it's a bar.
That's what you're not getting. It's great.
Yeah, but I don't understand. I'm fucking under arrest. What is a fucking bar?
Because you had a security guard asking you to leave, and you kept swatting his hand.
You're seriously gonna fucking put me in this position?
No, you put yourself in this position.
No.
Yeah, bro. See, this is the other part that's a disgrace to our profession that you're not catching. If you were a true cop and you cared about the blue, you would not put me in this position right now. You would have freaking gone home when I asked you to.
Romo wasn't any quieter when they went to the police station either, and that only made things worse for him.
What's up, man?
I can't fucking breathe.
Okay.
Prisoner.
Well, sir, at this current time, you are in a jail facility, and the correct term probably would be prisoner. However, we're trying to get you released, but you're not showing any signs of sobering up that allows us to believe that you can go out and act accordingly in society.
I feel like a fucking animal here. And this ain't right.
You've arrested You've arrested people, right?
I have.
Today you ended up in jail, right? So you were arrested. So you ended up in jail. There's nothing we can do special for you because of your situation.
No, you can't now.
Sure,
You guys are treating me like a fucking prisoner, which I get, but you gotta give me something.
So you've been nothing but disruptive in the jail facility this evening. I have to report back to your lieutenant this evening, and now I got to report back this behavior furthermore.
Romo was fired 4 days after this arrest, and he was charged with assault and disorderly conduct. Romo pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct and was fined $650, whereas the assault charge was dismissed. It's doubtful that the individuals involved in the following case received the same treatment, though, as it involved not just a civilian breaking the law, but also their cop friend.
Hello. How you doing? Reason I stopped you is your right brake light is out. Who do you work for?
So did you stop me because my right brake light is out?
Yeah.
Or did you stop me to ask me who I work for?
Well, I'm asking you both.
DCS.
What?
DCS.
DCS. What's DCS?
You don't know what
Department of Children's Services?
As he mentioned, the suspect named Petra Edgerton was originally pulled over for a broken brake light, but the officer quickly noticed something else, a police badge around Petra's neck. Firstly, this cop doesn't recognize the supposed officer, but it's also unusual to see a police officer driving around in a broken car. Something feels off, so the cop decides to investigate further.
See your license then? Do you have your badge on you? Like your ID badge?
ID badge for
being a police officer.
See, this is what you're asking me all those questions.
Right.
Saying you stopped me for my right brake
So, if you're a police officer, you understand what probable cause is, right?
So what's the probable cause?
Your right brake light's out.
My right brake light wasn't out when you followed me out of the gas station.
Yeah, it is. It's out right now.
The car wasn't even on when you followed me out of the
Doesn't
gas
matter. You're driving with a brake light out on the streets, so it's an equipment violation.
You followed me out of the gas station.
I saw it when you were pulling out.
At this point, the brake light issue is the least of the cops' worries. It's difficult to classify what exactly an off-duty officer is supposed to act like, but something about Pectra is triggering alarm bells for the cop. She's acting defensive, being closed off, and giving strange, vague answers to questions that a real cop would be able to answer. So it's time to quit the games and figure out exactly what's going on here.
Look, long story short, I just want to know who you work for.
And that's the issue. Why do you want to know who I work for?
Because I've never seen you around here before. You're not a police officer that works here.
You don't know who I am.
That's right.
You never seen me.
Right. So, are you a police officer or are you not a police officer?
So because a black person walks into a store with a badge and a gun, it's an issue.
That has nothing to do with you being black. Are you a police officer or you're not a police officer?
Not a police officer.
You're not a police officer?
No.
So why would you go into Quick Trip and get free food with your badge and gun?
Because I'm an officer. You don't have to be a police officer to go in there. I've been doing it for 3 years.
So you're not a certified police officer.
It's not probable cause. It's a personal thing.
There are a dozen ways for a cop to prove that they work for a certain agency. For example, she could give the name of her department and supervisor and have the cop check the names with them. This would only take a couple minutes and any real cop would know this, so the fact that she's getting defensive instead and turning this into a personal thing is a huge red flag. It's also clear that Pectra doesn't seem to realize what she actually did wrong. Just minutes earlier, she was seen inside the store presenting her badge and gun to the cashier and walking out with free food. This isn't just cop impersonation, it's theft. So the cop needs to get to the bottom of this.
Did I steal from
Are you yeah, if you're not a police officer.
I did not steal from Quick Trip. I went up to the register, spoke to the guy that works there and told him I had his drink.
So you're presenting yourself as a police officer with your badge and your gun on the side.
Okay.
Do you understand that?
I do understand that. But my issue with you is, you've seen that. You say because you never seen me before.
So who do you work for?
Out of the store.
Who do you work for? Who is DCS?
How long have you been working here?
12 years, 13 years.
How do you not know what DCS is?
There's, like I said, is it Department of Children's Services? What is it? Explain it to me.
I don't have to explain myself to you. If you're going to give me a ticket for the tail light, you give me a ticket for the tail light.
Okay. You see your license?
Since he's getting nothing out of Pectra, the cop decides to call up DCS himself, and his suspicions get instantly confirmed.
Who is your supervisor?
What do they have to do with my brake light?
What it has to do with is you've told me you're a police officer, or you're an officer for DCS. I've got DCS on the phone. They say you don't work there. So who's your supervisor?
It seems that the suspect knows at least something about policing, as she chooses to remain silent from now on. So the cop turns his attention to the passenger of this vehicle, who at this point hasn't said a word. When he asks for her ID, he gets a huge surprise.
I have one of your employees here, Brandy Green. She was with her friend, Pectra Edgerton. Brandy decided that she was going to give Pectra her badge and her gun to go into Quick Trip and get some food. So I pulled them over for a broken taillight. Pectra was driving. She had the badge on and the gun on. When I pulled them over, she identified herself as a DCS officer and then later admitted to not being a DCS officer. And your employee, Brandy Green, admitted to giving her the gun and the badge to go into Quick Trip to get the free food.
After investigating just a little further, both Pectra and the actual cop, Brandy Green, admit to everything. Following the incident, Brandy resigned from her job at the DCS, and Pectra is facing felony charges for impersonation, carrying a sentence of up to 5 years in prison. Do you enjoy true crime videos like this? Make sure you're subscribed to see more.
We're gonna have multiple people. I just shut the garage door on them. I got them trapped in. I think they're probably trying to get out the window.
That was just some of the footage captured on Officer Brendan Kaiser's body cam relating to the February 2023 incident involving multiple juveniles who were reportedly trespassing in the garage of an abandoned home. Kaiser is a member of the Louisville Metropolitan Police Department, a department that certainly isn't a stranger to accusations of violent or deadly controversy. In fact, the Free Thought Project, which is a group that pushes for police accountability, has been reporting on the LMPD's corruption and violent tendencies for years. And the LMPD was involved in the March 2020 killing of Breonna Taylor, an innocent EMT who was shot while sleeping inside of her own home. Later that year, Louisville officials agreed to pay her family $12 million to settle a wrongful death suit. No officer has ever been charged with Taylor's death, but the Justice Department charged 4 current and former police officers on August 4, 2022 for civil rights violations, including lying to obtain a search warrant for Taylor's apartment. In December 2022, Taylor's boyfriend Kenneth Walker, through his attorney, announced that the city of Louisville agreed to pay $2 million to settle lawsuits brought by him. Following that incident and the national demonstrations in 2020 over police brutality and systemic racism, Louisville officials banned no-knock warrants, which allowed police officers to forcibly enter homes and search them without warning. Further, after Taylor was killed, the FBI Louisville field office has opened several investigations into LMPD officers. The oldest is a 5-year probe into a SA scandal in the department's Explorer Scout program. This issue first came to light in 2017 when a 22-year-old filed a lawsuit alleging that she was abused by 2 LMPD officers when she was 17 and 19 years old in their cars and homes. The lawsuit also alludes to the fact that the police department and lieutenant who ran the program conspired to cover everything up. In 2017, Mayor Greg Fisher hired a former U.S. attorney to investigate independently and requested an FBI investigation. The federal investigation led to the conviction of 3 LMPD officers for deprivation of rights, attempted enticement, possession and distribution of child materials, and the transfer of obscene material to a minor. It was also revealed that the officers SA'd more than a dozen former scouts in the program. In June 2020, during the protests over the deaths of George Floyd and Taylor, a 53-year-old restaurant owner named David McAtee was fatally shot by the Kentucky National Guard after authorities, including the LMPD, were sent to disperse a crowd that had gathered. However, McAtee and the group around him were not thought to be protesting. Instead, they were violating the mayor's 9 p.m. curfew. McAtee fired 2 shots outside of his home and business, above his shoulder, after his niece was shot with pepper balls in their doorway by an LMPD officer, Katie Cruz. Cruz was charged federally for excessive force for shooting the balls at McAtee's niece, but the case remains open. Then, she was later fired after an internal investigation found that she did not have permission to use the pepper ball gun because the crowd was neither disorderly nor aggressive. During her plea hearing, she even admitted that she shot an individual with a pepper ball while the individual was standing on private property and not posing a threat to Cruz or others. As part of her plea deal, she cannot seek further employment in law enforcement. Another incident during the 2020 social justice demonstrations involved LMPD officer Dustin Dean. During a live broadcast, Dean was captured firing non-lethal pepper ball rounds at a local television news crew. This matter is currently under investigation. However, a statement from Wave 3 TV, who employs the reporter and cameraman who were shot at, said that the crew was not interfering with law enforcement. Following that incident, Dean was put on paid suspension at home from June 2nd through July 29th, 2020, but then put on administrative reassignment while the department conducts a Public Integrity Unit investigation to determine if there was any criminal wrongdoing involved in his behavior. That investigation is believed to be ongoing. Yet another investigation was opened up against 2 officers who, from August 2018 to September 2019, reportedly threw large beverages and the containers at Louisville residents while on duty in unmarked police cars.
And the ones who knew what was going on and that they was doing that, how do they get away?
Apparently, they'd bring the drinks into their cars and get close enough to throw them at their targets. According to a news release from the Justice Department, the officers would speed off after throwing the beverages. They both pled guilty to conspiracy to violate civil rights, a federal crime, for their behavior. One of the officers who pled guilty in the drink-throwing conspiracy also pled guilty to conspiracy to commit cyber-stalking. yet another federal charge. It's alleged that in the fall of 2020, he used an electronic communication service to harass, intimidate, and cause emotional distress to at least 6 women. He also hacked computer applications belonging to the women and stole compromising photos, videos, and other information that he blackmailed them with. It was also exposed by Vice News that money had been going missing after the LMPD conducted raids. Several witnesses were interviewed, some who were never convicted of a crime, and said that officers seized large amounts of money from them, but then reported smaller amounts when the cash was turned in as evidence. As such, Louisville's Metro Council President David James wants the policies around handling evidence to change. The current policy does not require money that was seized to be counted by the officers at the scene. Why we would not require counting money at the scene when we know we've had problems with this in the past and officers have gone to prison for this in the past seems illogical to me, James said. On that Vice video titled, "Money and Drugs Keep Going Missing After Louisville Police Raids," some commented to expose even more bizarre activity by LMPD officers. One man said, "My brother's brand new vehicle was stolen in Louisville. My brother called them multiple times to ask them if they found it. They kept saying no. He eventually found out, after it was auctioned off, that they found it the very next day after it was stolen. Please do a story on this issue next." He has phone records proving that he called them multiple times to ask if they found it yet. They lied about having it just to buy time to auction it off as unclaimed property. The Louisville police are criminals. Attorneys even told him they couldn't do anything because the Louisville police are so good at legally committing crime. Another said in part, "I lived in the Louisville area for most of my life. I'm from Elizabethtown, Kentucky, and live outside of Cincinnati, Ohio now. I can tell you that you are just touching the surface with this story. LMPD won't do a bust on a known drug house if they don't think it's big enough to pocket any money, unless someone in that house specifically ticks off someone on the force. I've been a law-abiding citizen other than some speeding tickets, but I've known some people that have been on both sides of getting busted by LMPD. There are a lot of great cops on LMPD, but I imagine there are still too many dirty ones just being swept under the rug too. Suffice it to say, but the LMPD has had a long history of issues. But back to the case at hand. Last month, 2 LMPD officers responded to the garage of an unoccupied home in the Chickasaw neighborhood, which was believed to be full of juveniles and a suspected stolen vehicle. Kaiser and another officer are seen walking around the garage with their guns drawn. They could hear movement inside of the garage and had drawn their weapon because they did not know who was inside, how many people were inside, and whether the individuals were armed, the LMPD department said in a news release. However, the situation escalates quickly after someone attempts to open the garage door. Kaiser responds by closing it shut with his hands. He then calls for backup because they tried to get out. He said that he had multiple people trapped in the garage, and he believed that they were going to try escaping through a window. But additional officers did not arrive in time because the door eventually opened, and this happened. As you can see by the emphasis in the video, which was released by the LMPD, there is a lot of focus on the fact that Kaiser allegedly had his finger off the trigger, and it seems to suggest that the gun went off unintentionally. However, many others have pointed out the fact that he didn't alert the officer on the scene or warn anyone else with his department that a shot had been discharged, whether he pulled the trigger or not. In any event, despite a bullet somehow being fired, it appeared at the time that none of the officers, the juvenile who was detained, or any of the boys who ran away were injured. But 2 youths later checked into local hospitals after the shooting, and it is believed that they were both injured by the bullet from Kaiser's gun, although both denied being at the location of the vacant home and garage that day. Thankfully, they both sustained non-life-threatening injuries. And attorneys for those injured teens say that Kaiser has a long history of excessive uses of force, which is true. Sometimes perhaps justified, and maybe not so much in other instances. In 2018, Kaiser was exonerated for fatally shooting a man, 42-year-old Isaac Jackson, who, according to the LMPD, threw a knife at an officer. but he was also admonished multiple times, including a brief suspension after he was found to have violated policies on de-escalation during an April 2020 incident. According to his personnel file, specifically he failed to use appropriate language to attempt to calm several people down, and failed to exercise patience and diplomacy. Kaiser was also previously reprimanded for a December 2018 incident when he failed to be courteous, civil, and used profanity towards a juvenile, failed to turn on his body camera, and used inappropriate force on a juvenile. His file also shows that he was criticized in different incidents for being at fault in several car crashes and missing a court date. Kaiser was also sued, along with a gambling house, after a woman walked into a Derby City gaming, which she often frequents, and was asked by employees for her name and then arrested by Kaiser. She was later charged with trespassing. Rayleigh believes that she was wrongly confused for someone else. It's unclear whatever came of that lawsuit. This officer has a history of red flag behavior, attorney Sam Aguirre said. The department needs to explain immediately why his prior incidents didn't prompt corrective action and training. As for the teens who were injured in February 2023, the LMPD has confirmed that they were all unarmed. Kaiser has been placed on administrative leave as investigations surrounding the incident are conducted. So, all of this begs the question. If the LMPD's forced narrative is wrong, and it can be proven that Kaiser intentionally shot into that garage, could that be considered excessive force? Perhaps. Let's go back to the case around the killing of David McAtee. He was killed after his niece was shot by a pepperball gun. The officer involved in the shooting of the niece was federally charged for excessive force because the girl did not pose an immediate threat on the police or anyone else. She was simply standing on private property. Sure, there was an active curfew put in place by the mayor, but that didn't seem to lessen the punishment Officer Cruz, who shot her, received. And that was just for using a pepperball gun. Sure, those can still hurt when they strike someone's skin, but they aren't real bullets. Cruz isn't even allowed to be a police officer, not in Louisville, not anywhere, because of that incident. When it comes to Kaiser, the argument could be made that he didn't know at the time whether the teens had a gun. But he also couldn't definitely say that they didn't either. They were also on private property, like McAtee's niece, but not property they seemingly had the permission to be on. Again, that can lead to another question. Is simple trespassing, especially of an abandoned property, without the apparent possession of a weapon, a crime that justifies being shot? A reasonable person would likely say no, but only a court of law could make that decision. Only time will tell what will come from this case. As for now, all we know, based on the information provided on the video, is that the LMPD consulted with Kentucky State Police, and Kentucky State Police told LMPD to conduct the investigation. LMPD will then turn over the file to Kentucky State Police for a full case review before the case is submitted to the Commonwealth's Attorney Office.